Good evening and welcome to Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. I am Lincoln Wambuga. Our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. We have a lot in line for you tonight, but first, let's take a look at the headlines.
Mr. Kang'ata ceases to be the Jubilee Chief Whip.
Kang'ata ousted as Senate Majority Whip to be replaced by Senator Kimani Wamatangi of Kiambu.
9(1)(h) of the Constitution gives an accused person the right to be released on bond or bail.
Mike Sonko released on 300,000 shillings bond as anti-terror police unit escort him to hospital even as his terror case is pushed. Twitter is considering adding a subscription fee for some features as the company looks to diversify its revenue beyond ads. You can now watch your favorite programs on the following platforms on Signet, Zuku Channel 53 or Azam Channel 338. You can also catch our episodes on our website www.switchtv.ke, Switch TV News or YouTube channel, or download the Switch TV app on Google Play Store or App Store. Now, on to the top stories. Murang'a Senator Kang'ata has been de-whipped as a Senate Majority Whip barely a year after he took over the seat from Susan Kihika. In a controversial Jubilee meeting at the KICC, Kieleweke and Tanga factions clashed over the legitimacy of Irongo's ouster. Namukene Samuel reports.
Barely a year after he was installed as the Senate Majority Whip, Kang'ata has been de-whipped from the coveted seat in the Senate. In an event where the Kieleweke and Tanga faction clashed and watched the Jubilee Senate in public, both factions clashing on the numbers of senators present at the parliamentary group meeting. Ruto allies had claimed that out of 38 members of the Jubilee coalition, only 24 were present in the meeting.
None of the people who spoke supported the removal of Kang'ata. All the others just kept quiet. And as I told you, there were few.
Mr. Kang'ata ceases to be the Jubilee Chief Whip in the Senate, and he's replaced by Senator Wamatangi.
The parliamentary group meeting that was held indoors of the lower chamber of the KICC had only one mission, that was to remove Kang'ata from his seat. The meeting that took less than 2 hours, and Senator Kimani Wamatangi was proposed as a suitable candidate to replace Kang'ata.
Senator Kang'ata has tried to give the impression that the reason why he's been relieved of his responsibility as the Chief Whip in the House has got something to do with a letter.
We have opposed this process. We are going to stand with Senator Kang'ata. We are going to oppose any fraudulent process that is going to be brought to the Senate. We want the Speaker to make first the ruling of our removal last year before making the ruling of Senator Kang'ata.
Irungu's trouble started after he wrote this letter to the president claiming that the Building Bridges initiative was unpopular in Mount Kenya, President Uhuru's backyard. Tuju said that while Kang'ata was within his rights to express his opinion to the president, the party had an issue with the manner in which he did it. Irungu was majorly supported by the Tanga faction senators' claims that this was a political witch hunt as he had done nothing to support his ouster.
I did not insult anyone. Yes. I did not at all belittle the government at all. I even offered solutions. But imagine, today I'm being kicked out.
This happens as party's tribunal suspends expulsion of 6 nominated senators who were expelled yesterday by the Jubilee party. It is here at the KICC where the Jubilee marriage has been broken officially with the de-whipping of the Senate Majority Whip, Kang'ata. Namukene Samuel, Switch TV, KICC, Nairobi.
Thank you, Namikane Samuel, for that story. After expelling 6 nominated senators on grounds of disciplinary violations, Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju has confirmed the decision after the party's National Management Committee met today and deliberated on a report filed by the disciplinary committee.
Among those expelled are nominated senators Isaac Mwaura and Millicent Omanga. According to analyst Orogo, Kang'ata was within his rights to express his opinion to the president, but the party had an issue with the manner in which he did it.
In the offing of the Irungu letter and his proposed, purported, ground analysis, he's realizing that the Building Bridges initiative is not popular. For example, in central Kenya, he does his own polls. I don't know how scientific the polls were, and realized that the people are not in favor of Building Bridges initiative as purported by him. And therefore, people are preferring other party formations. Therefore, that yielded his gravitation towards Tanga faction as we speak right now. And therefore, yesterday he was expelled from the party. The Jubilee Party has acted rightfully as stipulated by the Political Parties Act and by the Jubilee Party Constitution.
According to Orogo, Mwaura, who ditched the President Uhuru Kenyatta faction of Jubilee, has recently termed his disciplinary process before the Jubilee Party Disciplinary Committee as a witch hunt because of his support for Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 presidential ambitions.
I did not insult anyone.
Yes.
I did not at all belittle the government at all. I even offered solutions. But imagine, today I'm being kicked out.
The actions of today's Jubilee Party might not be popular in the court of public opinion, but it is respective of the Constitution of Kenya, the Political Parties Act, and the Constitution of Jubilee Party itself. And therefore, I think the party Secretary Party General, that is Honorable Raphael Tuju, is rightfully that once you advance an ideology of a different party functions, you cannot, your position and your leadership in the House is not tenable while you are advancing the position of a different political party.
The party has confirmed the ouster moments after Ruto's allies stormed out of the Senate Parliamentary Group meeting, protesting what they termed as an illegal and crooked plan to remove Kang'ata as Senate Majority Whip. Nyakundi Kelvin, Switch TV.
Thank you, Nyakundi Kelvin. Meru Senator Mithika Linturi has dismissed the manner in which Irungu Kang'ata has been de-whipped as a Senate Majority Whip. Speaking during a press conference at KICC, Linturi has termed Irungu Kang'ata's removal as unlawful.
Kuondoa kiranja wa bunge katika seneti, kuna ile sheria ambayo iko kwa standing orders ambayo ni lazima ifuatiliwe. Lakini kile kimetushangaza ni kwamba hata Kang'ata mwenyewe hakuandikiwa kuelezewa mashtaka ambayo yamkabili kabla ya kuitwa kwa mkutano huu. Sisi wenyewe hatukuwa tunajua, tunakuja kuelezea ama kujadili ajenda ya kumng'oa. Kwa hivyo njia ambayo iliyotumika kuitwa mkutano huu ni njia ambayo sio halali. Na kingine nisema ni kwamba hata kama mambo yakiwa hivyo na kushaelezea yule chairman wa kikao ambaye alikuwa Tuju, akaamuru ni lazima tuendelee na kujadiliana ili tumuondoe Kang'ata.
Meanwhile, 6 senators who were expelled from the Jubilee Party have obtained orders restraining the registrar of political parties from effecting the decision of the Jubilee Party to expel the 6 senators from the party until the case has been heard and determined. The case will be mentioned on 16th of this month. The 6 senators had sought the orders after they were expelled yesterday by the party organs. The 6 are Senators Isaac Mwaura, Mary Yane, Wako Naomi Jilo, Millicent Omanga, Prengay Victor and Iman Deko. Take a look. President William Ruto has asked politicians not to diminish President Uhuru Kenyatta's profile to that of a Mount Kenya leader. He said it was unfortunate that a section of leaders were branding the president as a tribal leader. Dr. Ruto noted that President Kenyatta was elected by Kenyans from every part of the country to be a symbol of national unity. Ruto was speaking at a burial in Mangu where Agriculture CS Peter Munye read the president's message, but according to Moses Kuria, this was a disrespect to the deputy president who was present.
Hatuwezi kukubali Kenya irudi mahali pa ukabila. That one I want to give you my word as Deputy President of Kenya. We cannot allow this country to backslide into ethnic groups. Tunataka tushirikiane, tufanye kazi pamoja, tuende mbele. Mimi nataka niwaambie tunawapenda sana, tunawapenda ajabu.
Uhuru Kenyatta, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya, 9 February 2021.
Hakuna vita mbaya kama hiyo ya kuwekewa. Hujui itatoka saa ngapi, itatoka lini, utafanywa nini. Haya, ndio hiyo.
Sisi ni wa hii boma moja, wakati nilikuwa na hiyo kiti, nilikuwa na kusaidia. Haukusema ukweli ya kwamba hii barabara ya Gatukuyu kwenda Matara sio Munya alifungua, ni huyu makamu wa rais alikuja akafungua. Na pahali tulikuwa tumeweka hema ni hapa chini, hapa. Si ni ukweli ambao mama alikuwa anapenda? Si mama, mimi bado niko katika story ya mama. Mimi nimeongea siasa kweli. Mama alikuwa anapenda kuambiwa ukweli. Na lazima tuambiane. Sasa Mheshimiwa Munya, tuheshimu mama. Ukikuja hata kama umetumwa na rais ambao tunampenda, ukipata makamu wa rais yako hapo, tufuate protocol. Hiyo message ya president unapatia deputy president anasoma.
Also, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko is to be held for 30 days in a terrorism case after receiving treatment. The court has ordered anti-terror police unit officers to take him to hospital. This comes after Sonko's release on a bond of 300,000 shillings by a Kiambu court in an assault case with instructions to look for his accusers and resolve the cases out of court. As the drama earlier unfolded in court, Mike Sonko, in his white t-shirt printed "Never Give Up," was escorted under tight security to court, accompanied by a nurse after he was hospitalized following stomach complications. The ex-governor faces various counts of charges including terrorism, corruption, assault and forced entry into a property in Buruburu Phase 4, where he is accused of leading a group of men to assault Alex Kioko, causing actual bodily harm. On terrorism charges, Sonko accused President Kenyatta's government of planning parts of chaos and violence witnessed in the aftermath of the 2017 general elections and later pinning it to the opposition party. The prosecution, however, maintains that Sonko, being a politician, has influence and can interfere with the witnesses.
These are charges wherein parties even have the option to reconcile. Where there is convincing evidence the accused will intimidate witnesses or interfere with evidence, the need arises to deny bond or bail or set stringent bail or bond terms. Bond of Kenya shillings 300,000 with a surety of a similar amount. 2, the accused person to cooperate with the investigating officer and heed summons when required by the IO. I can only give directions to the effect that let the accused person be availed proper medical care that is befitting of whatever it is he is ailing from.
With our story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube, we are live as Switch TV News. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 and at Switch TV Kenya in at Lincoln, Umbugo. ODM leader Raila Odinga has pleaded with the church to support the BBI process since the church has always been part of the reforms agenda in Kenya's history. Speaking in Homa Bay County during ordination of Bishop Michael Odewa, Raila has said the church was part of the team that steered BBI process and should therefore not jump off the train at this hour. Take a look.
We set up a task force, and the task force was one of you, Archbishop Zacharias Okoth. We had Bishop Jenga of the Anglican Church. We had Bishop Matthew of the Methodist Church. And that's what actually surprises us, that the church is again raising issues, and we don't know why those issues were not raised with those prominent church leaders in the task force itself. The BBI has a transformative agenda for this country.
The BBI process is a people-driven process. So the judiciary should not put unnecessary stops to this process. They should let the people decide. If this is not good for the people, Kenyans will decide. If it is good for the people, Kenyans will decide. But I'm happy that the injunction did not include injuncting county assemblies, because we have seen many county assemblies that will this week and next week process the document, and it also did not injunct the National Assembly. So we will also be waiting for it in the National Assembly and the Senate to deal with it.
Moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has presided over the official launch of the Task Force report on enhancing access, equity and quality effective curriculum reforms implementation report by the Ministry of Education at KICC. The report is the work of the Task Force on enhancing access, relevance transition and quality for smooth transition of the curriculum appointed by Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha in 2019. Brad Mwende has the report.
The report was presented to the Ministry of Education in the presence of President Uhuru Kenyatta, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, Ministry's Permanent Secretary Dr. Belio Kipsang, amongst other key education stakeholders. Amongst the recommendations in the report is that a grade 6 learner will sit for summative assessment that will cater for 40%, whereas the 60% will be from the continuous assessment test.
We are indeed currently making the third such transition since the independence of our nation.
President Uhuru Kenyatta says the education system should nurture the civic competence in learners, adding that the CBC has capacity to install appropriate values in learners.
It calls on us to imagine a system that creates responsible citizens as opposed to subjects. A system that celebrates the creative potential of all our children, as opposed to one that leaves them with labels of failure.
The President has also established a new State Department of Curriculum Reforms Implementation that will aid in the implementation of the competency-based curriculum.
If the challenge of our time is that of rapid technological growth, then the response of our education system must be that of digital literacy.
Since its enrollment, the 2-6-3-3 structure has faced its own fair share of challenges, including inadequate teachers' training, inadequate resources, inappropriate infrastructure, and errors in the syllabus, amongst others, that this report seeks to find solution to that.
Thank you, Brandman. On other stories, the World Health Organization and its COVAX partners have cautioned against dismissing AstraZeneca's COVID vaccine after several setbacks, insisting it remains an important life-saving tool in the fight against the pandemic.
The primary job of vaccines right now is to reduce hospitalizations and death. And right now, the data on, I think, all of the vaccines and all of the situations that they're working to do that. We may need second and third generation vaccines to do more. We may need better vaccines to do more than just stop deaths and stop hospitalizations. But right now, we have the tools to stop both by adequate control of the disease at community level and by the use of vaccines to protect the most vulnerable and our frontline health workers.
We mustn't start, concluding that this vaccine doesn't work at all. What we've seen is data from a small study. It's indicative. It is telling us we need to collect more data, we need to study it more. But from all the available evidence, the AZ vaccine and all the other vaccines that have been approved so far reduce death, reduce hospitalization, and reduce severe disease. And that's our goal for the first part of this pandemic, is to reduce mortality, to end all preventable deaths.
It is vastly too early to, be dismissing this vaccine as, this is a very important part of the global response to the current pandemic, and we need to find better vaccines probably against the variants that are emerging, but that we still have a lot of information that we need to gather.
World Health Organization experts are deciding who the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine should best be given to, as doubts are raised about its usefulness for older people and against the South African strain. South Africa is suspending vaccinations with the jab after a study showed it failed to prevent mild and moderate cases of the variant that has appeared in the country. But the Anglo-Swedish drug company insists that its shot could stop people getting severely ill, and it's adding that it's working on a version to combat the new strain.
What we've proposed is a two-stepped introduction process of the rollout. The first step, we would vaccinate about 100,000 people or so to monitor what the hospitalization rates are. It'll probably take us a few weeks to do that. And while we are rolling out the vaccine and collecting that information on hospitalization, we'll be able to assess whether to simply continue the rollout with the 1.5 million doses we have, or whether we need to stop the rollout of the AstraZeneca vaccine. South Africa has to ensure that we do not vaccinate, using the 1 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine that we have, without knowing whether it's efficacious against severe disease and hospitalization. So it's prudent that we do it in a stepped approach. We can expect this kind of situation to emerge repeatedly. If we can have one variant, we can expect that we will have many more in the future. So indeed, much of what we are doing now sets a stage that prepares us for future variants as well.
In the business community, a lot is happening, and we have the latest news. Good evening and welcome. My name is Clifford Ndubi. Traders of Mwariro Market in Ngara are appealing to the Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure to give them the first priority in the allocation of the newly built market. In 2008, market was demolished for upgrading plan, where 247 traders encountered losses during the demolition exercise. The traders say they have a say for the construction of the market. After a long 13-year wait, the traders say that already 9,000 applicants have been shortlisted for the balloting exercise without them being given a priority as the affected owners of the stalls.
Lakini kutoka wakati huo tukaambiwa ni serikali ya Kajo ya kwamba wakimaliza kujenga first priority itapewa watu wale walikuwa wamebomolewa.
Sasa juzi tumeona kwa watu wanaona ma SMS kwa masimu ati wakiambiwa waende balloting huko Nyayo Stadium by Wednesday na Thursday. Sasa tunashindwa, tuko na kesi kotini na tuko na order ya kusimamisha kila kitu. Tunashindwa, serikali inapuuza hizi order ama kunaenda namna gani?
Sasa ndio tunajiuliza, inaweza kuaje watu wenye ni wapita njia ndio watakuwa beneficiary wa soko, na sisi ndio tuliumia tukiwa kwa hiyo soko, na sisi ndio tunajua hiyo soko na tukose kupewa juu hao watu 900,000 kwa watu kwa soko kwa store there 360 something watu tatoshea kweli?
Now, elsewhere, local flour exporters expect better tidings from this year's Valentine's Day sales in contrast to last year. According to the Kenya Flour Council Chief Executive Officer Clement Tulezi, while the COVID-19 pandemic continues to evolve, the horticulture sector has learned to navigate challenges presented by the global health crisis. The week running to Sunday is the biggest sales period for cut flour exporters, with the bulk of the subsector's revenue across the year streaming from Valentine's Day alone. Flour exporters will be out to beat their Sunday orders between Tuesday and Wednesday, with orders later than February 10th being unlikely to hit the market by the end of the week. Now let's leave that alone to some other news, where Twitter is considering adding subscription fees for some features as company looks to diversify its revenue beyond ads. According to Hill Media, Twitter is doing this to increase revenue durability. The fees may include subscriptions and other approaches that will give people and businesses of all sizes on Twitter access to unique features. Subscriptions have always offered an alternative to advertising, but social networks have traditionally stayed free as a way to encourage user growth and engagement. And finally, the Communications Authority of Kenya has, in partnership with local telecommunication service providers, launched an interactive portal aimed at creating a safer online environment for children. The microsite, developed in collaboration with the Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom Kenya, Jamii Telecommunication Limited, and Global System for Mobile Communications (GSMA), will provide online safety tips for children and guardians. The launch comes against a backdrop of increased cyber threats recorded in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has created a new frontier for cyber criminals. According to the Communications Authority of Kenya statistics for quarter ending December 2020, the National Computer Incident Response Team Coordination Center detected more than 56 million cyber threats in the country.
I'm calling out fellow mobile operators in Kenya, Telcom Kenya, Airtel, led by Safaricom. We all joined together, and through this initiative, we signed up to the Child Online Protection Charter as a demonstration of our commitment to working together to provide a safer and more reliable online experience for the youth in Kenya, which is an online version of the Child Online Protection Booklet, and which will be accessed by millions of children across the country, as I've said. Together with other industry players, we are proud to hand over this interactive website to the Communications Authority for them to continue to share online safety tips for children and parents throughout the country.
Right, that story on children online safety brings us to the end of the business news of the day. Let's do this tomorrow, same time, same place. Up next is sports news with Lincoln Wambugu.
FKF Premier League side AFC Leopards after they confirmed the arrival of Patrick Osems as a new head coach. The 55-year-old Belgian tactician joins the club after a successful stint at Tanzania's Simba, where he guided them to the Tanzanian Premier League title in the 2018-2019 season and reached the quarter-finals of the CAF Champions League. Ingwe have been without a coach since Thomas Tuchel quit after a short-lived stay at the Dens towards the end of last year. Luis Suarez scored twice, but it was not enough to earn victory for La Liga leaders Atletico Madrid as they were held to a 2-2 draw by Celta Vigo. Santamina put Celta in the lead after 13 minutes before Suarez tacked in an equalizer just before the break. Suarez then put Atletico ahead